At the end of the last book, Garrett proposed to Mallory on New Year's Day. Now it's June, and they have no real wedding plans yet, besides probably sometime in the fall. It's not a good sign the wedding planner has no idea when the wedding is.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
Mallory and Bev go shopping when she sees the perfect wedding dress. The only problem is that it's a summer dress. I'm no fashion expert, so I don't know what that means. Maybe the word summer is written on it in big letters, and everyone will laugh if she wears it in September. The antique store is important to the mystery, so let me discuss the entire family tree. Grandma Claudia is a feisty woman who argues with Helene Pierce. June Battles is the friendly owner. Her daughters are Tabitha the historian, an adopted baby named Mary, and hard-working Pia. Mallory and Bev find an amazing veil. Helene comes in to yell at Claudia when she sees the veil. Helene claims it's a family heirloom and tries to steal it. She causes such a big scene that the police have to get involved. Her attempt to take the veil is a failure. Failure. Mallory goes home, where Mom is on the rampage. She stole Mallory's calendar in order to move up the wedding date. She demands to have grandchildren right away, and she hates the wedding dress, so Mallory has to change it. Yeesh, if I was Mallory, I would have second thoughts about inviting Mom to the wedding. They discuss who's going to run the wedding. I thought it was a given that Mallory would run her own wedding. She's a professional wedding planner, after all. She doesn't want to be stuck doing business stuff on her wedding day, which is fair enough. Rachel volunteers to run the wedding. And no, there is no need to consult with the groom on any of this. In fact, Garrett is barely in this book. His daughter Summer gets more story than he does. They conduct interviews for a new wedding assistant. Pia does a fantastic job, and they hire her on the spot. Helene appears to harass them about the veil again. It turns out the veil is a historical artifact made by Betsy Ross. Fancy. Pia and Rachel hold a wedding planning meeting for Garrett and Mallory. Everybody's there. Mom continues to be mean. After a lot of pressure, they agree to move up the date from sometime in fall to sometime in July, maybe August. I find it silly that moving up the date does not include picking an actual date. Where are they going to live after the wedding? They decide to build a new house on the property. It has to be done quickly because their contractor has a conflict. Not to be mean, but this house storyline is impossible. In real life, you can't build an entire home from scratch in under 3 weeks, especially if you don't have any plans in advance. Mom says their new house needs to have a room for the baby. Everybody's shocked, and Mallory has to tell them she's not pregnant. She and Garrett haven't even talked about having kids. And they don't really have a chance to discuss the subject in detail, because like I said, he's not in this book a lot. Police Chief Truman gives more details about the veil. Helene's family owned it until 25 years ago. Her husband Richard was killed in a hit-and-run accident. The veil was stolen from the back seat of the car. How did the veil get from a murder scene to a random box in an antique store? Nobody in the book investigates this angle. Maybe the police look into it when Mallory's not paying attention. I don't know. The next day is a big town festival where they reenact a Revolutionary War battle. It's so foggy no one can really see anything. The mystery officially starts when an unknown person steals a musket and kills Claudia. This is page 142 of 314, so it's almost halfway through the book. Some reviewers complained it takes too long to get to the murder mystery. I guess they didn't like all the wedding drama. Mallory's stepdad comes under suspicion because the murder weapon is his musket. Jesse the contractor is hurt in the crossfire. He's hospitalized for weeks, which somehow doesn't stop him from building the 3-week house. A strange man in suspenders arrives. He's Horace Overwright, an authenticator with the Smithsonian. He thinks the veil's authentic. Helene gets a restraining order as a ploy to grab the veil. Horace says the veil's secret location in front of a crowd of people. Not too long after, the culprit breaks into Mallory's house and steals the veil. Thanks a lot, Horace. Tabitha reveals she saw Richard Pierce get run over 25 years ago. She tried helping him, but got covered in blood. Gross. Tabitha says Richard was having an affair with an unknown woman. It's possible he was killed because of that, not because of the $1 million veil in his car. The book skips ahead to July. Since there are no dates in this book, we don't know how far ahead this skip was. Was it 20 days? 40? It's kind of crazy to think Mallory was hosting at least one wedding every weekend for the entire book, and none of those weddings get seen. Out of nowhere, Becca and Keith appear. They want Mallory to be their surrogate. Understandably, Mallory doesn't want to have a baby with her cheating ex-boyfriend. When Becca and Keith look into adoption, Helene cuts off his inheritance. Why are all the mothers in this town so vicious when it comes to getting grandchildren? The culprit beats June to a pulp, then hangs her by the neck from a chandelier. Luckily, Mallory finds June with just enough time to save her life. June spends some time in the hospital. I expected that one of June's relatives would watch her daughter in the meantime, but no, the baby goes to Becca and Keith. They eventually decide to adopt her. Pia says before Claudia was killed, she was about to reveal the identity of Pia's father. Pia tried to identify him through a genealogical DNA test. In the next chapter, Helene throws a fit about blood relatives, which prompts Keith to take a genealogical DNA test. 2 genealogical DNA tests back to back. One of the testers has an unknown father. I think I know where this is going. A new mystery surfaces. Someone robbed the Historical Society and is selling the artifacts online. The sale is traced to Tabitha's laptop and she's arrested. Even her defense attorney thinks she did it, and her best defense is to blame Claudia for everything. Talk about throwing the dead grandma under the bus. Mallory and Garrett get married. This scene is about 1 page long. I honestly expected it to be 15 pages minimum. I mean, the main character is getting married in this marriage series. It should be a huge deal. After the wedding, Mallory just happens to see an alert on Pia's phone that says her real father is Richard Pierce. The next day, Rachel just happens to play with a wooden owl that Richard owned. She accidentally drops it. Inside is Richard's secret will that gives half of his estate to Pia. Mallory thinks Helene must be the culprit, but come on. The main villain of the series is never going to be the culprit. If she was guilty, she couldn't appear in any more books. When Mallory confronts Helene, the real culprit arrives with a gun. It's June. She killed Claudia to hide the identity of her baby daddy. The murder also helped her frame 2 family members for her artifact theft. After June explains everything, Horace appears out of nowhere and maces her. Horace explains he had a hunch June was guilty, so he was trailing her. Horace might be a better detective than Mallory. The end. Post-book follow-up. The first 84 pages of the book are 2 chapters. The last 84 pages are 11 chapters, plus the epilogue and recipes. The book is definitely lopsided towards the start. Pretty much every character gets a 5-page scene to introduce themselves. I was okay with that, the characters and story are good enough, but I definitely preferred the final third of the book. The pacing is much faster as there are at least twice as many scenes. Some of them felt rushed though, like Mallory's wedding and Keith's sudden baby drama. Hopefully future books can find some sort of balance between 40-page chapters and 4-page chapters. June explains a lot of things. She doesn't really explain the time she pretended to kill herself. She was beaten pretty badly, and she was legitimately choking to death. She definitely risked her life faking this murder attempt. If Mallory had been delayed by a phone call or something, June would have died for sure. Similarly, I would like an explanation for how teenage Tabitha failed to recognize her mother when she saw Richard having an affair. Yes, she says she didn't see or hear the woman clearly, but it's her mom. She should be able to recognize her mom from a distance, and she did get close enough to realize the two were romantically involved. There's not much wedding planning in this book. Bev and Jesse's wedding gets delayed, possibly to next book. I'm okay with taking a break from wedding planning for one book, but this is the book where Mallory gets married. It seems like an odd choice for the one with no weddings. I would have gone with the Christmas book as the no wedding book. Overall, I like the book. I think the second half is stronger than the first, but that could be because I prefer mysteries to wedding date drama. While the book has room for improvement, it's certainly good enough for publication. I give Wedding Planner Mystery number 6, Veiled in Death, an 8 out of 10. If you like wedding mystery drama, you'll like my video game, Francie Drew in the Mystery of the Missing Mother-in-Law, which is available for purchase on Steam and itch.io.